everyone, it's James, and one of the features I really love about our Winnebago is this little guy right here, the roof port box. Now, what this is, and we'll get into a little more detail later, but basically it's an easy and convenient way for you to run cables from inside your RV to your roof without having to go and drill a bunch of extra holes in your roof. Now, I first started using the roof port box back when we were doing our tour in Parky, a National Parks Foundation Travato, and that was 2019. And since then, this feature has found its way into a lot more of Winnebago's small coaches, especially the Bs and the small Cs. So it's a great and easy way to pass cables through. You don't have to drill in the roof. Basically, you drill into the box. Now, I've used this before a number of times. In fact, you can see here I've got a Starlink installed, and I've used a Starlink provided cable gland right here to go into the box. But I was never really happy with this particular gland. I had problems with it. But now I've got an additional cellular antenna, which has got another 5 cables that I've got to run into this roof access port box. I have a plan for how we're going to do this, but it's probably best if I show you that back in the shop. So let's head inside. Now this is what you just saw outside. This is the roof port box. And I ordered this as a backup in case I really mess things up here, because I'm kind of going out of bounds with what I'm going to try. So the normal way that you would use the roof port box is you would just kind of drill a hole in here, and then inside here, Winnebago has a hole that runs into your RV, and then you would just fish the cables through, and then you just have a small hole here that you need to seal up. Well, with the Starlink thing, not only is there a big hole in the middle, but then there's like 4 or 5 other holes around it. So I got kind of quite a few holes there. And now I have to run like 5 more cables in there. So I looked around for like a way to make it better, more flexible. And I found this thing. This is like a multi-cable kind of thing. So the way it works is there are all these different like rubber plugs. There's one of the rubber plugs, you see. And this one is made for the 4 cables from the cellular antenna. And you just slip the cables into there, and then you clamp it back down. And then when you put it in here, and then you apply pressure on the top, it sort of squishes all of those down and seals it back up. I put it in backwards, that's why it wasn't going. There we go. When you do that, then you clamp it down nice and tight, and then it seals all those up. So, and this one has like space for 4 of these plugs. So if this works out, what I'm gonna have is a rather flexible way. And then if I decide I ever change my mind in the future about what I want installed in the roof port box, it's going to be pretty easy for me to just pop out one of these rubber things and change the cable and put another one in. And I'll have a nice good size hole in here. So that's the plan. But I don't know, maybe the Starlink holes, maybe I don't remember if I maybe like drilled a couple extra holes and they're messed up, and if this is going to cover up all the holes properly. There's a lot that could go astray with this, which is why I have this extra box. But this is what we're going to be trying to mount, and we're going to mount it on the back. You don't want to really put stuff on the top, because then, that you're leaving yourself open to rain, right? So I'm going to put it on the back, and we're going to run the cables through that way. But I don't know what I don't know yet, so it all starts by removing the big ridiculous Starlink cable gland I've got up there now. So it's back outside. All right, step 1. So I had covered this whole thing in silicone, just being extra cautious, which has made a mess for me to remove it. So I'm just going to try to remove it without removing the silicone first, because it's all coming off anyway. So here we go. It's the great thing about doing so many RV projects is you forget the details of each one, so I have no idea what I'm going to find when I remove these. Part of the fun. I got all these random bits and bobs off, and then there's just this, and this was my main gripe with this thing, is I had to cut this stopper. It's just very annoying. Anyway, that's all clear, but I've got kind of holes that extend pretty far. I don't know if you can see that. Here, give me that. The holes come pretty close to the top and bottom, and it looks like I had to remove some of the sealant here to get this big monster thing to fit. So I don't know how well this is going to go. I've brought out I got to clean all the silicone off. I brought out a plastic scraper because I figure somehow I'm less likely to cut myself with a plastic scraper, although I'm already bleeding, so I don't know if this really matters much, but we're going to clean up the silicone, and then we'll do a test fit of the square box, see if we can make it work. Okay, the more I got into it, the more I realized that box out there had seen better days. That Starlink mount really did a number on the box. There were just too many holes and they were too close to the roof line where I was worried about water getting in. So I guess my OCD wouldn't allow me to reuse that same box. So we're gonna go with the new box. I guess on the bright side is this will give you a chance to appreciate all the work that Winnebago has done for you in putting the box on the roof in the first place. So I've already installed here in the shop because it's much easier to get to the back side. See there, I've got nuts and whatever, compressing the little gasket. So I'm satisfied with the way this is going to seal up. Now for the hard part, removing the old box and putting on a new one. That's going to be a lot of scraping sealant on the roof, so yay! Okay, so I've got the roof port box removed, and in my opinion this was sealed up pretty well. There were screws in the corners, then there was sealant underneath the border of the thing, and then more sealant all around the top. I'm a little worried that I'm going to be able to seal it up that well again when I do it again, but we'll see. Anyway, this is the roof port. It looks like we've got about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter hole. Here, let me see that. There's the camera shadow. I can't even see it. Wow. There we go. Inch and a quarter hole right there. And that goes, yeah, all the way into the cabinet over my bed. So that's like, the roof is that thick. Check it out. Anyway, so now I'm going to go inside and prep the other box, and then we're going to come up here and seal it down, and then we can start running wires finally. Okay. I should point out that you don't necessarily have to remove and replace the box each time. That is certainly not the intent of the roof port box. This is just me being OCD, and because I had installed that fateful Starlink cable gland thing with the holes all over the place, I just wasn't happy with how it's going to seal up. But if you're careful and you're just running a cable or two through, there's no reason to do this. Well, that's just how I am. Anyway, so I'm ready to seal this back down, and I've got on the bottom here, I've got some two-sided Eternabond tape. Now, this is the stickiest stuff known to James. So as soon as it touches the roof, that's kind of it. It's all over. So what I've done is I've put the screws through here ahead of time, and I've already checked they line up with the holes that were there before. So we're going to be okay there. And so now it's just time to peel off the release paper and stick it down. So wish me luck. There will either be joy or swearing. Usually it's swearing. Yes, everybody's in the hole. Everybody's in the hole. All right. So there's the layer of two-sided Eternabond underneath there, sucking that down to the roof. And that would probably be enough to keep it from leaking. But we're going to go the extra mile, and we're going to take this, which is more Eternabond tape. This is single-sided stuff with a UV-resistant backing. And I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to kind of go all the way around it to seal down to the roof all around. So, here goes nothing. You can see now here I've got more Eternabond tape all around. That's sealed up. I'm pretty confident that's not going to leak. So, it's finally time to fish the wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish the wires, and since these things are all, if you remember, split on the sides, I can just drop the wires in first and then come back and put these little cable rubber doohickeys on after. So that's what I'm going to do. Here we go. All right. Starlink cable down. Itty bitty cable. See it?
Yep.
Got him.
Got him.
All right. We've kind of got the cables run. I'll tack those up there with some zip ties. And these, I don't know if you can see the little splits on the side. Here, give me that. They split on the side, and then you just tuck them down in from the top. They're a little tough with the box already mounted, but we got her done. Now I just got to get this cap on. I think the best way to do that is to put it on and then put the bolts in, because it's got pressure in two directions. So here we go. There we go. That's how it's going to look. I guess the good thing about this now is that if I do want to change the cables at some point in the future, it shouldn't be nearly this complicated, because I've got the box is good, I've got this thing mounted, I could even run additional cables without doing anything except getting a different one of these rubber grommets. And so, cool. All right, now let me go inside and we'll show you the inside part of the roof port box. Okay, and on the inside of the RV, the roof access port is sort of finished off just like this. There's this little plastic thing there, and there's a cap. If you don't use it, there's a cap on there. You can just pop that out and run your cables through. Now I've got this big mess of cables run through here, and I need to get them over into here for this mess, which is what I'm going to be dealing with next. Anyway, if you're lucky enough to have a Winnebago, and especially a Winnebago with the roof access port box, then you'll appreciate how easy that can be compared to, like, on our first RV, we had a metal roof and I had to drill holes through. It was kind of scary. This, I mean, I kind of went overboard with my OCD thing. It gets in the way sometimes, but would have been super easy if it was a first time install on that. It's just because I had messed up the box previously. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with my roof port box. The cables will run into there. If you've got one, kind of curious as to what other people are doing with theirs. You go in through the top, through the sides, front, back, whatever. There will be a post over on the Fit RV, which we'll link to in the YouTube description down there. And you can hop on over and leave comments and let me know how you've used your roof port box, or if you have any questions, we'll try to get them answered. This is James. See you later. Bye.